is Manish Nigam, and today I am here with a new lesson, that is Triumph of Surgery, class 10, and the name of the book is Footprints Without Feet. In this lesson, there are three characters. One is Mrs. Pumphrey, the owner, the mistress of dog, owner of a dog. The second character is Dr. Harriet, a veterinary doctor. And the third character is dog, that is Tricky. And the whole story revolves around this dog, that is Tricky. And this entire story is narrated by doctor, that is Dr. Harriet. Okay. So what happens that Dr. Harriet met with the lady, that is Mrs. Pumphrey, and he saw the condition of the dog. It was pathetic. Red eyes, roomy eyes, dull body, dull face, and the dog could walk with difficulty. So the doctor suggested that I told you just avoid or stop giving the dog the sweetmeats. Please don't give the dog extra food. Restrict on its diet. It has to be, otherwise the dog will be ill. And give some exercise also. Lady said, yeah. Mrs. Pumphrey said, yes, I am trying to. But I cannot refuse the demand of my lovely dog. That is Tricky. Because she loved the dog very much. As if it was her child. More than that. And because of this, because of that pampering, excessive pampering, the dog became dull, fat, inactive, lethargic, and it was about to die. And when she saw the condition of the dog, she thought that it is malnutrition. So she gave some malt, some cod liver oil, and some Horlicks. But the condition did not change. Finally, Mrs. Pumphrey had to call to Dr. Harriet because the dog Tricky started vomiting. The bouts of vomiting were there, and it was not interested in anything. So she had to call the doctor, Dr. Harriet. And the Dr. Harriet has his plan. He understood that this lady is going to kill the dog because the dog is greedy for food, and whatever the dog demands, that lady is available, providing it. She is ready with that material. She is giving it chocolates, meats, sweet meats, and everything. So the doctor understood that in this way the dog will be ill very soon and it will be dying. So he suggested Mrs. Pumphrey that the dog has to be hospitalized. It has to be taken to the surgery. Surgery here means the hospital. The dog has to be hospitalized. Okay? And what he did, when he came to take the dog, Mrs. Pumphrey, as I mentioned, she is a rich lady. Many servants are there. So they just started bringing the belongings of the dog. As I mentioned, the bowls for morning, bowls for noon, bowls for evening, the uniform, the dress, the raincoat, the winter coat, the cushions, the mats, oh my God, everything. And they were just putting all that in that doctor's car. And doctor knew that it was not possible to keep all that stuff in his car. But okay, he was not there to break the heart of that lady. So he accepted it, okay? And then he took the dog to the hospital. So this was one part of the story. Now we'll see the second part of the story. What happened in the hospital? How he treated the dog, sorry. He did not give the dog any medicine. He simply stopped its food and gave him ample amount of water. Okay. Gradually, after 1 or 2 days, the dog started responding, started showing interest. And then it was just eating food and then playing with other dogs. But how this all happened, we'll discuss here. So at the surgery, the other dogs were there because it was the hospital, veterinary hospital, and other dogs were kept there to be treated for the medical ailment. So other dogs came there and just inspected this new arrival, Tricky. And Tricky was motionless, silent, looking at them. The dog did not pay attention and just walked away. And then the doctor, Mr. Harriet, he made a box, and that box was actually his bed. And he stayed there for some time. Next day, what happened that he just gave him some food. Other dogs were given food, and this dog Tricky was not at all moving. Other dogs were just rushing towards their bowls and they were just trying to eat it as fast as they could. But Tricky was not. He was, when they all had completed, Tricky reached there and just licked some one or two pieces there. Okay. The next day, when another bowl was put there for Tricky, and the servant was there just pouring or putting the material, the eatables there, Tricky showed some interest and he reached there and ate something. So gradually, the dog remained in the surgery for 15 days, for 2 weeks, and in those duration, on those days, the dog improved, recovered bit by bit, not by the medicines but by restrictions of diet. A simple procedure that Dr. Harriet followed, and it cured the dog, Tricky. And in the meantime, what happened? That lady, Mrs. Pumphrey, she went on calling. In a day, she phoned up many a times, dozen maybe. And she inquired about the condition of the dog. What happened? Did he sleep well? Was his cushion changed? Was his mat changed? Given all that, all sort of details she wanted to know. And the doctor had to lie because she was just disturbing a lot to the doctor. So he had to lie. But okay, now as he informed her, the doctor informed Mrs. Pumphrey that the dog is recovering. She was now happy and she started sending eggs, brandy, and other stuffs for the dog. Yes, the eggs and brandy were there for the dog, sorry. But the doctor, Mr. Harriet, he did not give that stuff to the dog. Instead, he and his friends enjoyed that egg in the breakfast and the brandy in the afternoon. And it was a happy time for him. And he wanted that dog should remain there with him so that he could avail all such delicacy and all beautiful stuff like brandy, eggs, and other stuffs. But finally, he knew that he had to send Tricky back to its mistress. Finally, the dog was recovered. It was playing with other friends, and that was a friend in the sense gang. And in the garden, having a good time. It was now a flexible, muscled dog, not at all lethargic, not at all inactive. So finally, Dr. Harriet informed Mrs. Pumphrey that, Madam, your dog is okay, now you can take it back. And finally, Mrs. Pumphrey arrived, and when she saw the dog, she was overjoyed. As far as the dog is concerned, when it saw Mrs. Pumphrey, it just jumped out of Dr. Harriet's hand and sat there on her lap and barked, kissed, licked, and Mrs. Pumphrey was there hugging it tightly. And now it was the time for the dog, Tricky, to be taken to its real home. And when Mrs. Pumphrey was taking the dog to its home, she looked out of the car's window And she said, "Thank you, doctor. It was really a miracle that you made. It was really a triumph of surgery." So, my dear children, here the chapter completes. But the main point that you have to understand, over pampering is dangerous. It spoils everything, whether it is an animal or the human beings. So we have to stop this over pampering of anything. Extra care, over caring, that is dangerous. And here the same had happened with this dog Tricky. So hope this video is going to be a helpful one. If you like this, please share with your friends and please subscribe it. Thank you and God bless.